Hello everybody, I wanted to make a video real quick about the top 5 tips I think are essential to keep in mind when you first decided that you wanted to start your fitness journey. Okay, so it's a top 5. I'm going to say number 5 would be to set goals. And I would say this depends on your personality type. Me, I'm not one to kind of go in the gym and say, this is what I want. You know, I didn't really have a goal when starting out on my fitness journey, so it's kind of hard for me to answer that question, like, what are your fitness goals? Like, somebody asked me that. I don't know, just to go to the gym. It could be as simple as that. But, I mean, eventually what happened is, even though I didn't have any long-term goals, what happened is I started developing short-term goals. And so that goal was like, I'm gonna, challenge myself to run 3 miles. I've never run 3 miles before, and I'm going to have that as a goal for the week. And so that was a short-term goal, and then eventually it was like, I think I'm going to run a half marathon. That's I don't want to run a full marathon yet because, I want to see how a half marathon feels. It's 13.1 miles, and so that became one of my goals. And so what this allowed me to do is kind of work towards something. And if I have something I'm working towards it, then I'm more likely to be, more likely to stay motivated, more likely to stay on task. And okay, so set goals, but it's not necessary, but it does help in keeping you motivated. The number 4 would be to work out with friends or develop a network of people who are similar-minded. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard finding people who are into the same exact thing you are. But if you can try to work out with friends, that will make it more fun, and again, it will keep you motivated to stay on task with your fitness goals. So that could be something like hiking. Hiking is a good thing, even if most people who aren't into like crazy fitness, like running and bodybuilding, most people like hikes, so you can do something like that, something fun. Work out with friends. You could go to the gym and work out with friends. You could go cycling with friends. You could do, if you work out with friends, it makes it less of a chore and more of a hobby, more of something that you like doing, which is important in keeping you on task. And number 3, I would say this is probably one of the more important ones. Be patient. I cannot stress this enough. There's a lot of people, they decide like, okay, I want to get fit today. I want to lose all kinds of weight. I want to make this transformation. And so they get all wrapped up in the excitement of making that choice, and then they want quick results. They want results within like a week. They want results within a month. They want to lose 50 pounds within a month. And so you have to be patient, set realistic goals to go along with number 5. Be realistic. Be patient, have confidence that the work that you're doing, even though it may be little each day, have confidence that the work that you're putting in will eventually have an effect. You may not see it day to day because you see yourself every day, but eventually it'll pile on top of each other, and then somebody will see you within a month or 2 months from now, and they'll be like, wow, you lost weight, or wow, you put on muscle, or, just be patient, have confidence. Do not check the scale every day. Do not check the mirror every day. A good practice would be to maybe limit how often you check your weight on the scale to about once per week. So that way you're more likely to see progress. You're more likely to see a couple pounds or something rather than getting on there, checking in, and getting on an hour later, checking in, and getting on the next day. That's really not the right way to go about it. You got to be patient and be confident. Alright. And number 2, I would say this is probably, this is the second most important tip I can offer, is don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. Do not be intimidated to go to the gym and use the machines. I know a lot of people who say that, the reason why they don't get started is because they don't want to go to the gym because there's a lot of people there who look like they know what they're doing. And they may be bodybuilders for years, but at the same time they started at 1.2, and you cannot let that be something that stops you from starting, because if that's going to stop you from starting, then you're never going to start. And so I would say, don't be intimidated, because most likely those people who are, who look all buff and everything, if you ask them a question how to use it, they're going to be willing to help you. They're going to be willing. I know I would. If somebody comes up and asks me, and if they aren't willing to help you, then that's on them. But what's really important is you and your fitness goals and you getting them accomplished. So you can't let anything get in the way of that, especially fear and intimidation. Do not let fear prevent you from doing what you know you can do. So go into the gym or do something that you're not quite sure of, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm sure there's people who are more than willing to answer the questions for you. You just got to put yourself out there. If you don't know how to use a machine, ask one of the people who works at the gym how to use a machine, or ask somebody if they know how to use a machine. Set your ego aside. You got to put your ego to the door, or leave your ego at the door. Alright? Okay, the number one tip I could offer is you have to make a conscious decision at one point. I mean, initially it may start off as, okay, I'm just kind of getting into it. It's a gradual thing. That's how it started for me. It's kind of gradual, but eventually you have to make a conscious decision. When you set a goal for yourself, or when you decide things are starting to get serious, you have to make a conscious decision that you really want it, that you really want this to happen. Because if you do not make that conscious decision, then it will most likely not happen because of excuses that you make or things that happen. But if you make the conscious decision to be determined, that is the number one tip that I can offer. You have to be determined. Make the conscious decision to be determined. I have this quote that I love saying because it's so true. If you are determined to succeed, nothing will stop you. But if you are determined to fail, nothing will help you. And what that means is pretty self-explanatory, but let me kind of expand on that. If you are determined to succeed, you will find a way to have that goal accomplished. Because you have the right mindset. There may be obstacles in your way, but that's not going to stop you because you are determined to succeed. You'll just find another way around it. But if you are not determined to succeed, that is the surest way to failure, because then eventually, you're going to start making excuses for yourself, and your heart's not really in it. You'll see an obstacle and you'll be like, okay, I can't do it today because of that obstacle. And so that is the number one tip I think is most important. You have to be determined to succeed every day. Every day you wake up, every day you run, every day you go to the gym, every day you swim, every day you cycle. You got to keep in mind the broader picture. Your goals, your long-term goals, whatever they are, losing weight, whatever. And you can't let anything stop you from doing that. I have people who, they're like, oh, I want to get into shape, but then I suggest something and then they make an excuse for it. Like you could start off walking after work, walking around the perimeter of your neighborhood. Yeah, but when I get off of work, I'm usually really tired. That right there, that demonstrates to me that person has chosen to be determined to fail. They have not yet made a conscious decision to determine to succeed. Because if they had, they would not stop their thinking there. They would be like, okay, I am tired after work, but what can I do to get around that to, maybe still complete my goal for the day, or kind of get in my activity for the day? Because ultimately, fitness is a state of mind. Alright, and so if you want to do something, if you want to eat healthy, if you want to do activity, nothing is going to stop you. And if you are determined to succeed, to do those things, nothing will stop you. But if you are not, then anything will stop you, and nothing can help you. No pills, no P90X, nothing. None of these gimmicks will be able to help you. Nothing works unless you do. Alright, and so, determined to succeed. Fitness is a state of mind. Alright, and so if you are determined to succeed, then eventually success will come. And so it's as simple as that. Don't let things stop your way of thinking, because too often we limit our thinking, or we limit our possibilities with our thinking. What I mean by that is, we tend to think that things are only possible if they've been done. If things have not been done before, we have a tendency to say that they're impossible. The impossible, once you use that word, you put that into reality. You make it a reality. Whether or not it's true, whether it's impossible, it's only what you think it is. So if you think something, if you already put something in the realm of impossibility, it's always going to be there. So there's no point in thinking that something is impossible, because that limits your thought. And so ultimately you have to be determined to succeed, and I kind of stress that multiple times, but it's because it's important. If you want something, you got to get it, and no excuses, nothing. Whether you don't have much money, I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't have money for a gym membership. Running is free. All you need is a pair of shoes. And you know what? If things are that hard up, you don't even need a pair of shoes. They have this whole barefoot running community. Come on, for every excuse, there's a way around it. And you'll realize, once you make the conscious decision to succeed, that nothing will stop you, and you will get to your goals eventually. So these are just some tips that I have that I want to share that I think were really, really important in terms of getting started on your fitness journey.